we are going to start our basic understanding what happens in the diabetic retinopathy. Diabetic retinopathy. In diabetes mellitus, this is the persistent increase in the blood glucose level. Our focus today is on how this elevated glucose affects the eye, specifically the retina. So first, we will understand what happens to the glucose in the normal metabolism. So under normal circumstances, glucose is utilized by our body and it is converted for the production of the ATP. Glucose is converted to the pyruvate by glycolysis and then entered into another pathway, which is important, which is pentose phosphate pathway, are known as triple P pathway. Triple P. A key product of this pathway is NADH. This compound NADPH plays an important and protective role. It helps to combat with the oxidative stress by providing with H positive. Now, if there are harmful oxidative substances like O present, it will combine with it and for production of H2O. Okay, there is another pathway which is known as polyol pathway. So what happens in this pathway? When there is glucose level become very high, this pathway will also increase. It will cause the conversion of glucose into sorbitol, and then the end product is fructose. Now, when there is increase in the level of glucose, as it occurs in the case of diabetes, this enzyme could not be able to function properly. So there is the increase in the production of the sorbitol. Now this glucose level become excessively high, as in diabetes. Some of this excess glucose is diverted to an alternative pathway, polyol pathway. In this pathway, glucose is converted into sorbitol by enzyme aldose reductase. For the production of the sorbitol, this reaction uses NADPH as a cofactor. When this pathway becomes overactive, as it occurs in the case of diabetes, more sorbitol is produced, more NADPH is used. So overall NADPH become less in the case of diabetes. Now what will happen when there is less NADPH in the body? So NADPH is excessively used in the conversion of glucose to sorbitol. Its availability for the other vital function decrease. Without NADPH, there is increase in the reactive oxidative species in the body, and cell cannot be able to effectively neutralize this ROS, reactive oxidative species. This led to increase in the oxidative stress inside the retinal cell. Furthermore, NADH is also used for the production of nitric oxide, a vasodilator. Deficiency of NADPH therefore leads to the reduction in NOH production, causing vasoconstriction and impaired blood flow in the retinal vessels. So as you can see in this picture, the increase in the oxidative stress. There is another thing about this reaction, which is the sorbitol itself. So sorbitol also has very harmful effects. The accumulation of the sorbitol inside the retina causes the osmotically active substance, which is sorbitol. It is actually a osmotically active substance, meaning it attracts water in the cell. This leads to the cellular swelling, edema, and further metabolic stress in the retinal tissue. Another thing, as you can see, this is the combined peak glucose, normally ATP, another pathway, pentose phosphate pathway, PPP. Now there is increase in the sorbitol, decrease in the NADPH. Okay. Now there is another thing which is important to discuss. Let's first discuss this, which is non-enzymatic glycation. So what is this? At some time, excess glucose under normal non-enzymatic glycation, which is glucose molecule, become attached with the proteins in the blood vessel. So what it will cause? It will cause the thickening of basement membrane. There is decrease in capillary lumen. There will be the increase in vascular stiffness. So all of these changes reduce oxygen and nutrient supply to the retina. Then there is another thing, which is inflammation and oxidative damage. High oxidative stress and glycation products stimulate inflammatory cytokines. These cytokines will attract the white blood cell and other inflammatory mediators to the site. These result in endothelial dysfunction. And there will be the loss of important thing, which is pericytes. Loss of the pericytes. The result in the endothelial dysfunction, loss of the pericyte, the support cell around the retinal capillaries. So loss of the pericyte will further weaken the vessel, leading to some important changes, which include, we were at the loss of pericytes. So what it will cause? First thing is it will cause microaneurysms formation, and it will cause capillary leakage, And third thing is it will cause bleeding. So what will happen if this is a vessel, there presence of normal parasites. Now in the case of diabetes, there's loss of these parasites. Now the vessel, and there's also the thickening of endothelium basement membrane, presence of the WBCs because of inflammation. All these things will cause the microaneurysm, which will be like these, dilatation of the vessel. It will cause the bleeding. Bleeding is like this because of the weakening. So you will see like bleeding like pattern the vessel, and there's a capillary leakage. So all of this will cause the ischemia. Now what will happen when there is ischemia due to the basement thickening, parasite loss, and the endothelial injury? Retinal blood flow become compromised. This will cause the lack of oxygen. Now what will happen in response to the lack of the oxygen? The vessel will produce VEGF, which is vascular endothelial growth factor, which will promote the new blood vessels. However, these new vessels are more leaky. They lack proper endothelial lining, and they are structurally weak. As a result, they will easily rupture, and they will cause hemorrhage, exudate, and the further retinal damage. Now let's try to summarize each and everything which we have discussed till now. There is persistence hyperglycemia, which will cause increase in the pyol pathway, which will increase in the sorbitol, which is cause increase in the osmotic stress. There is a decrease in the NADH and NADPH, which will cause the decrease in NO synthesis, causing the vascular impairment, as well as the increase in fructose. Also, this glucose and fructose will also cause glycation. There will be the increase in the production of reactive oxidative species, as body could not be able to produce enough NADPH. All of these things will cause diabetic complication. Okay. Now also because of these all things, there will be the stasis of blood. Endothelia will be injured because of the thickening of the endothelium and the basement membrane, and because of inflammation there is hypercoagulability. Because of it there will be the blockage of the blood. All of these things, these will cause the effect the vessel wall, causing the venous bleeding. As you can see in this pic, these small red colored dots, as you can see in the picture, are of venous bleeding. This is another pic of venous bleeding. This is not a clear one. Because of the stoppage of the blood, there will be the microaneurysms. As you can see, these small red colored aneurysms are present. It will cause hemorrhage, exudates, which we will discuss in our next video. About all of these things, there will be the formation of the new vessel formation. There are two types of formation of new vessel. One is new vessel everywhere. As you can see, these are the main vessels, but these small vessels are new vessel everywhere. And if they are formed around the disc, this is known as NVD, new vessel on the disc. These small vessels, as you can see, these are the new vessels. This is another pic of new vessel on disc, small, and these are the new vessel everywhere. As you can see in this pic, it is very clear. These small are the new vessels on the disc, and these are new vessels everywhere. This is the main vessel which is occluded. This is another pic of new vessel everywhere.